so I can use that video as a regular video. Hello and welcome to Living Abroad. Today we're going to take a look at someone's question on a Facebook expat page where they say, what is the craziest incident you have experienced in the Philippines? So we'll talk about this, hopefully bring you guys all the crazy nonsense that could happen to you while traveling, and at the same time educate ourselves how to avoid such things. Beginning with the first comment. Oh, of course you guys can go ahead and share any crazy experience you've had in the Philippines. Daryl says, I could write a book. Getting arrested by the NBI girlfriend has to be up there. She arranged bail the same day and took me home. Now imagine being in a relationship where someone calls the police on you because, who knows, an argument of some kind. That's the thing, you know, you can choose the perfect mate, but you never really know what could happen. Life throws you a curveball. Maybe you get into arguments because things change, or you're both simply, you know, you kind of grow distant. But I can't imagine a situation where I'm with someone, still with them, to the point where they call the police on me, especially in the Philippines, because we know sometimes police in the Philippines can be, what happened with the, oh, it's too hot. I get it. This camera is getting too hot. This is the second live stream I'm doing. That's probably why the camera temperature is too warm. It's telling me to. Anyways, so yeah, it happens, especially in the Philippines. You don't want to be in a situation where you're stuck in jail for a few days or weeks or even months, in Vitali's case, and you can't get out. So choosing a partner is obviously very important. What's up? Says Howard's Travel. Not much, man. Everything good. Now you speak loud and clear. Excellent. I'm happy to hear. Yeah, but the problem is I got so many microphones here, the laptop mic, the camera mic itself, and an external mic. I thought I closed 2 out of the 3, but I guess it was catching an echo, so I had to shut down the whole live stream and restart because for some reason it would not stop. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So relationship problems are, and you know, worldwide. It's not just in the Philippines, but in the Philippines, I find like, not just the Philippines, as a traveler, let's just be clear. In any country you're visiting, you simply don't have the rights, or at least the comfort knowing that the system would work with you and not against you. And given how long the backlog must be for the Philippines courts, based on what we've seen so far about other expats in the news, it can take a long time. So I would say just behave. If things get to a situation where you feel like you have to act inappropriately, please just simply remove yourself from that situation. If you're staying at a place where it has multiple bedrooms, just go in another room. Calm down. You know, I know it's not easy as a man sometimes to flip out. I myself have anger issues. I mean, maybe not so much anymore. Definitely younger, I used to just like get really frustrated. The person I'm with does not understand me. And that could lead to obviously, you know, arguments, fights, disagreements, and hopefully not physical altercation, but like, you never know. Some people's relationships are really messed up. So it's always important to be aware of that situation. So Daryl, although crazy, but nothing totally unusual. So Lanita says there was an actual live crocodile inside a hospital in Dagupan. I'm sorry, what? They had a live crocodile in the hospital? Why? Is it a petting zoo? Like, what? How does that? If you're from that area or know why this would happen, I would love to hear a reason, a real reason for this. Longhorn Howard says, when I woke up one morning and my Filipino wife was giving me a tampo because she dreamed I was with another girl at the beach. By the way, I love it when they tampo. Doesn't bother me, I should say. She doesn't bother me. Yes, be careful, because your Filipino wife seems to be the main person in your display pic. I have a feeling she runs the house, which is fine in some relationships. I mean, I wouldn't behave that way, but if you just want a happy wife, happy life type of situation, and you're okay with her throwing a little temper tantrum, that's up to you and your relationship. But it's kind of cool to know that she got mad at you even when you had a dream. Maybe change some of the details of your next dream. Include her so she doesn't feel left out, right? And Can Services Transport says, driving at night, tricycles parked on National Highway, no lights. Thanks heavens, I was quick reflexes. It was extremely close. Saw his wide white eyes. Shee. Yes, Philippines roads are an adventure. Let's put it that way. When I was in Siquijor especially. Siquijor is a small island, and at the time they were also experiencing a lot of brownouts. Plus it was raining really hard, so I think it may have affected some of the the wires. But I was on a motorbike and I couldn't see a single thing. And I don't usually ride motorcycles or scooters or whatever you want to call them in any big cities, but whenever I go to small islands, I take the risk because I'm not experienced rider. Maybe I've been doing it for a year or so, and I know that my understanding of the rules of the road are not the same for Filipinos. It seems that in the Philippines, the bigger your car, the more right of way you have. So if you're a motorbike, you're dead last. And it was quite different. And whenever I've been inside of vans or transport vans going from one city to another, I always find it extremely nerve-wracking is the easiest way I could put it. There's always, things on the road, obstacles, people not driving properly. They have these e-bikes that don't follow the speed rules. People making wrong turns and U-turns, and it can be very challenging. Okay. If you guys can see me and hear me, once again, please just write a message in the comment section, a hello or something. I don't want to raise the volume on my phone in case it disrupts the audio and echo returns. John says my wife was in a good mood first thing in the morning. Oh, are you telling me she usually isn't in a good mood first thing in the morning? So maybe I don't think it's a crazy thing, at least not in the Philippines, but we got 42 likes, so I guess it's common enough where people can relate. Emery says, I was walking out of a casino and the guard pointed out that a person was laying in the middle of MacArthur dead. What? He said the guy got hit by a truck, deceased man's motorcycle, then backed up to, wow, because it's cheaper to pay family for a deceased person than to pay his lifelong bills, the story. What a crazy story that is. I'm not saying you're a liar, or he's a liar, but absolutely crazy, insane. Imagine getting into a collision on the road and taking someone's life because it's easier to pay for a funeral and pay for the family than it is to pay the lifelong bills of someone that is injured. Unbelievable. But if you live in the Philippines long enough, plausible is the best I can say about that. What do you guys think? Believable story or not? Write it in the comment section. Let me know. Kind of wild story. A security guard could be just pulling your leg too. Sometimes people say whatever, just to get you to react. Because you never know what could happen, right? I'm just going to type myself a message to see if it pops up. I'm going to say LOL from Asia now. And now if I go to OBS Studio, the LOL should pop up. Okay, it did. Everything's working. I'm not crazy. Let's go back to read some of these because some of them are very interesting. Aris says, I'm having an ongoing incident. There's a special kid that lives across the street. One day he said hi, and I said hi. We had a quick chat about nothing, and from now on he follows me everywhere when I'm out for a walk with my family. Just an hour ago, I heard someone talking outside my window. I opened the window and here he is, talking loud to himself and stalking me and family. I asked, what are you doing? He said, I'm watching Minions on your TV, on the guy's TV. I tried to explain to him that it's not appropriate, but he sees it as a completely normal. If I didn't know the way he is, I would think that he wants to fight me, as he always point finger at me and demandingly tells, I want to talk to you. I can tolerate him creeping around my house outside walking, but stalking through a window is a bit too much. I think you need to man up, bro. What the fuck's wrong with you? It's a kid with disability. Man's got special needs. He wants to watch the TV. Just cave in. Invite him inside. Give him some fruit. I'm kidding. But it's pretty messed up if that's true. The simple thing is to see where he lives and talk to his parents. The guy obviously needs some assistance living and understanding social norms due to his intelligent deficiency, and you need to just have a conversation with his parents to be sure they understand that it's bothering you. It's not normal, and they need to at least monitor him to ensure he doesn't hurt himself or anyone that's living with you. But pretty wild story, I must say. Yeah, stuff like that. People want to make friends. You're probably the one person that actually showed him some attention, gave him some attention, showed him some love, and now he wants to go ahead and, talk about you to all his buddies. Keith says, nothing that any of you report tops the crazy things done 30 to 60 years ago here. Many who visited during that time frame could tell you true stories that won't believe could true. All right? It's not a competition of who had the craziest decade, my man. Just share your crazy story is the point of this discussion. So Keith says, 60 years ago. Buddy, 60 years ago was 30 years before I was born. I don't even know. 1950s back then? What is 60 years ago? 1975 was 60 years ago. Damn. 1965. 1965 was 60 years ago. Can you believe that? That's a whole lot of years. I guess so. Back then, without the internet, I don't even know if people had any interest in the Philippines unless they were part of the military or some kind of connection to the Philippines via family members. It's just recently that the internet has opened up the eyes of many that are not associated with the Philippines via military or family ties that are interested in the Philippines, because tourism isn't really the priority right now. So, but I can't imagine back then the type of stuff that could have been happening in the Philippines. Kind of wild, to be honest. I think because of the non-stop technical difficulties that, let me go back here. There aren't many concurrent viewers. Also because I made a mistake with the YouTube title and I put a YouTube link. So I'm sure that messed with the algorithm. Now that it's fixed, we have some people here. Wanderlust Asia says, I have plenty of them. I can imagine. My man's here's a captain. Feel free to go ahead and share some of them. Brad says, getting crashed off a bridge into a river on my scooter by an oncoming riderless scooter sliding on its side at me like a bowling ball. Imagine riding a motorbike on a bridge while this like random crashing sideways on the ground motorcycle is speeding towards you and you got to dip and dodge into the river. Well, luckily you're alive enough. Luckily you're alive to tell us your story today. Bob says, other than riding my scooter in traffic, which to me is always crazy, I fell down at a resort motel by the ocean at Aurora, split my head open, had to go to the hospital with 2 people on duty, very tiny hospital stitches, stitched up by doctor, said I could not ride my scooter back. I was 4 hours away. I had to ride on the back of my own scooter in the rain 4 hours. I never rode on the back of a motorcycle in the U.S. ever. Crazy trip. I suppose they want you to be safe, my man. They don't know if you got some kind of internal bleeding, some kind of internal damage. Your noggin be shaken up. Your brain is all up, swollen, concussion and whatnot. Doctors perhaps even saved your life. You never know. It is pretty crazy though, and I'm glad you are alive to share your story. Memphis, Teddy says, it was barangay night in Santa Barbara. Maybe I should read properly, huh? Memphis Teddy says, it was barangay night in Santa Barbara, Dagupan yesterday. Some band was in town that I've never heard before. The kids were going nuts. Some kid screamed at the top of his lungs right into my ear, right into my ear to get the singer's attention. Take it from me, from someone who has been to a lot of concerts, that high-pitched teenage scream is annoying as hell. Okay? That's why I walked out of Justin. What are you talking about, bro? Should I even read the rest of this? I'll read it. Okay, why not? It says, it's why I walked out of Justin Timberlake's Christina Aguilera. Now, buddy, are you serious? Why are you going to these people's concerts, Christina Aguilera and such? Anyways, now I'm used to drunken Las Vegas fights, you name it. I've seen it. Wasn't really crazy, but it took like one of those locals had too much to drink. You could kind of see the combination, and then I saw the 3 police officers just quietly march towards the crowd, escorted him from behind very slowly to the paddy wagon. On the way, one of their truck drivers was using the opposite lane to get past the speed of traffic while I was sitting behind the motorcyclist. There was a car behind me The dumbass trike driver hit the vehicle behind me trying to get back into traffic. Vehicle honked. Okay. He dipped, didn't bother to stop, but the vehicle had a scratch. Other than paying the ridiculous service fees at immigration, nothing much. I'm not gonna lie, man. That's a whole lot of writing to say nothing. So somebody screamed at you. What? Somebody screamed at your ear, and you got into like a motorbike collision, and immigration fees, which is some of the most friendly from any country, bothers you? Come on, man. I know the ridiculousness of the express fee, but then again, for like $2 a day, you can stay continuously for 3 years, and that ain't not bad if you ask me. As a tourist, don't forget, because you're on a tourist visa. I don't know about the SSRV and retirement and all that nonsense, but for tourists, regular people, the visa and immigration should not be an issue. If it is, you haven't traveled much at all. What do we got here? 12 people watching. Cool. Like I mentioned earlier, I messed up the live stream. That's okay. Live and learn. And I'm learning to set up. If you guys want to see, actually I can't show you the setup. I got an external mic, a regular mic, a camera mic, Sony ZV itself, and then there's a lot of problems back here. So far, nothing crazy, I must admit. I thought I should have read these maybe a little bit before reading to you guys, but we're going to do this together. This is a live stream, right? Yeah, so Mars Fama says, pickpocketers. It was my first time coming back to the Philippines after so many years, and we thought of experiencing riding the bus again, Victory Liner, going to Olongapo City. Then I decided to pass by the bank and cash out money before heading home. Little did I know I was being followed, and it's their modus to have a watcher at the bank and the rest of the crew at the bus station. So my family and I boarded the bus as expected. It was crowded. We joined the crowd entering the bus. When we all got into the bus and we seated, I noticed that the crowd behind us was gone, like poof, out of nowhere. I was going to get some cash to pay them, and when I noticed my wallet was gone, I knew it was pickpocketers, so we had to go to the police station, and as usual, they couldn't do anything about it, but I needed the police report because everything was in my wallet, ID and passports. I was so nervous because we were leaving the next week and thinking of going to the embassy to get new passports for all of us. Wow, I can't imagine. It would take forever, and we had jobs to go back to. You feel like everything came down on you as you were waiting to the police station. At the police station, I got a phone call that my wallet was found at a pharmacy store in a mall. So we went there. I was praying that the passports were there. Thank God everything was still in my wallet. Passport IDs and debit and credit cards. They only took the 10,000 pesos cash. I was relieved. I don't care about the money stolen. I was just glad the important stuff was still in my wallet. SIM card, bank, experience, whatever. That's got to be one of the most, I don't know, your heart drops to your stomach feelings when you lose your passport. I've had that happen to me in Afghanistan. And losing your passport, in Iran. And losing your passport's got to be one of the most stressful things. When you lose your passport and you have a flight to go back to your job, and you have IDs, credit cards, all that, 10,000 pesos is nothing. You would happily give that up, maybe 2, 3, 4 times that amount if you're able to get your passport back, which is excellent news. In a way, a good story for us to learn to always protect our wallets, because you never know where there's going to be dropped, right? So, pretty interesting. Phil Frey says, my orthopedic surgeon's medieval setup on my leg after surgery, where I could literally pull out the pins he had installed during the surgery. And what's worse, my immediate follow-up showing him all the first words out of his mouth were, oops. True story. Wow. Imagine that. Getting surgery, having metal pins in your leg, and then the doctor saying, oops. Ugh. Tutela says, my brand new Helix truck, maybe had 2 weeks, had a rock fall off work truck and land on my hood, dented it. I didn't do anything. We went back where I was staying, boiled some water and bored toilet plunger. Fixed it myself. Gangster. My friend getting shot in the head. Oh my God, dead because of a stupid argument with a random dude at a sorry store. Well, may he rest in peace. A lot of people sharing. Now it's getting a little bit crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Nikki says the number of dead bodies I've seen from car motor accidents and hanging a gunshot victim is wild. It's raw here. I should have maybe not read those because this is going to be demonetized, but now I know. But I guess it's crazy stuff, right? Dealing with Filipinas with unresolved trauma. Unfortunately, there's no treatment for that. Mental health issues are swept under the carpet. Mental health issues do not have to be major, but enough to disrupt healthy, functional relationships. Okay, I'll read one more and we'll stop. But this is a new format, just to, do something a bit different. Wanderlust Asia says, "Oh shit, you can't see this? Well, you can see it, right? This is from a Facebook page, some expat group. It's public, so I don't think people mind me reading them because, I wouldn't read private information." So, this is from a public Facebook group. Larry says, "If your rental bike is parked outside a restaurant, you watch someone hit it with a car, do you try to stop them from leaving or deal with it?" I would try to deal with it, talk to them, get their information, of course. People need to be held responsible and accountable. But to be honest, whether something can come from it and whether you should expect something to happen, probably not. I mean, you don't want to be, even though he's at fault, don't ever lose your temper or lose your cool. You want to be still talking with someone respectfully. Accidents do happen. You don't want to lose your cool in the Philippines, in any country you're not. I mean, you never know that person, what he's holding in his pants and his bag and his bike and his truck. You don't want to lose your life over something silly as someone hitting your car. Yeah, it's annoying. I know it's frustrating, probably costly, but your life is priceless and you never want to be in a position where you're just having an outburst and disrespecting locals and having them lose face. This stuff is really important to be aware of in the Philippines and in many parts of Asia. You just have to settle it amicably and just with respect, and hopefully there's a positive outcome with the police report, insurance, and all that stuff. Okay, let's take a look at some of the comments on the channel right now. Larry P said, "Little advice, buy 2 tickets when taking the bus. Use the seat next to you for space." Hey, that's a pretty good piece of tip, I'm not gonna lie, especially in the Philippines because everything is so, affordable. Why not? That's a pretty good piece of advice. I never thought of that. Buy 2 tickets, one for you and one for nobody else, so at least you have some space. Nobody sits you, pickpockets you. Depends on how paranoid you are. But for me, I've never done it, but I can see why that might be not a bad idea. Not a bad idea indeed. Fixation says, "Hi Alex, your video quality looks great. Thank you." So I'm glad you said that. I put a lot of work into figuring the setup out. Initially, I had issues because the camera wouldn't convert the video and audio as in 1080p output. Then I had to buy a HDMI video converter card. Then the mic issues and all this. But now I got this set up. Hopefully, this will be the new style for the next few videos. I'll see if they're popular enough to continue in this format. And if not, then I'll go back to the original way of making videos. But thank you. I'm glad you noticed it. I'm using a Sony ZV-1 camera and just a regular, what kind of laptop? Asus laptop. I actually just bought this maybe a month ago. What camera do you use for make sit-down videos? I do the Sony ZV-1 for the sit-down videos. It's about a $400 camera now. Sony ZV-1, as well as Rode shotgun mic, which is working now, luckily. But the problem with it is the camera's auxiliary port is malfunctioning, so there's some static or something. So I have to use an external thing. It became complicated, but the Sony ZV-1. And when I do my interviews on the street, when I used to do them, not anymore, I use just a regular GoPro 10 because I really enjoy the stability on it. The colors were a bit too too vivid, as well as low light wasn't that good, but overall it was good enough for what I was doing. Larry said, "How do you feel about holiday girlfriends and what price should you be paying out weekly?" Well, personally, it depends on a lot of things. First of all, how old are you? What is your physical appearance? How wealthy are you? What kind of girl are you looking for? There's too many varieties and variables. I don't judge people that do that as long as you're honest and upfront about it to people. There's a lot of women that would be interested in that. So I think setting boundaries, expectations, and the price could vary. And how many times are you seeing this person? Are they coming with you? Are you paying for all the trips, flights, hotels, the food, all that stuff? It really, really is too wide of a range for me to give you an actual price. So the bottom of the day is, how much do you value yourself, your time, and your money? How much do you value that individual, right, that you want to spend the week with, or 2 weeks or whatever? Price, I don't have like a thing, but I think it's important to remember respect is still there. Set clear expectations, set boundaries. I will not pay everything up front. So let's say if I'm doing a holiday girlfriend with someone and we agree on a price, I wouldn't just give them that money. I'm like, nah, let's do all this. I'll give you maybe half now and half when you complete the duration. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do it. I'm not into that, but I'm not also one to judge people because, yeah, it's not my place. I don't judge people based on their preferences, as long as they're honest and tells that woman exactly what's the deal and what they should expect. Fixation says, I always use an experiment passport for deposits and stuff like that. In that case, I don't need to worry about it so much. You can do that if you have. Like right now, I have 2 passports. The other one, the corners are cut. I don't know how serious Philippines might be, if they even notice that, but try it out. Have you done a healthcare insurance video yet? I did it a while ago, a couple years back, but nothing crazy. Plus, I'm relatively young. I only have travel medical insurance, like emergency through Safety Wing. It's only like $50 a month I pay. It covers me up to $2 million, but not like a real breakdown of it. I think because I can't relate to it, I haven't really done much of it. Just the stuff that travel, nomad insurance, that kind of stuff. Fixation says, what's the reason you don't do interviews anymore? I just kind of grew out of them, to be honest. Like, to be 100% honest, it wasn't as exciting to me anymore. It wasn't as interesting to me anymore. That's the number one thing. It was time consuming, a lot of effort, became more like cold sales. A few people made it more embarrassing in the Philippines just because their behavior, walking up onto people, like exploiting them, or like shock factor. When I started doing it, I was the only one doing it like that. It wasn't like, there wasn't many people that go on the street with randomly cold approach people in the Philippines to that degree. There was some people doing it like on TikTok, or like, I don't even know if TikTok was around back then. But like my point, that format was relatively new. If it was just, I'm not saying I invented it, but it was like me and maybe like a small number of people. But now, like everybody, well, not now, like about a year ago, everybody started doing it. It got a bad vibe from just, I don't know, work. It's not enough. It's too much work, basically, number one thing. Also, I'm traveling often, so I don't want to be tied down to the Philippines just because of that, So a lot of little factors like that. Plus, longevity-wise, I didn't see it being sustainable. It's going to be creepy for me to go approach, because most people that said yes to my interviews were in their 20s. So I'm pushing 40 now. I'm like 39. So at some point, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me just go ahead and try something different. Wait, is this live? What happened? Are we in a time loop? There was some technical issues there. Did you get a cushion? I did not get a cushion for my chair. This is from my other, I'm doing another live stream on my second channel. If you don't know, I might as well post it here in case you guys don't know. I have a second YouTube channel called Asia Now. Let's go here. So this is my second channel, is mainly based around news from the Philippines, Thailand, and other Asian countries. If you guys don't know and just want to see videos on a regular day, everyday basis, to be in the loop about what's going on in the Philippines and Asia, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Maybe take a look, check it out. Okay. So we're talking about crazy experiences. We'll get to that in a second. Let me read some more comments here, because now we're vibing. Now we're smooth sailing. these kind of things take time sometimes for them to start coming up. All right. What were we talking about? Insurance, experiment, interviews. Mark said, oh, hey, man, not often can catch you live. Mabuhay, amigo. Mabuhay for sure. Mark said you were the pioneer of street interviews. Thank you. I thought I was definitely one of the first people to do it in that format, so it made sense at the time. Now, not so much, but it is what it is. Evolve Fire said, correct, just like in the U.S. Yeah, also, just like in the U.S. Sometimes when something works, everybody kind of mimics it. Like, there's no copyrights or nothing like that. Obviously, people have the freedom to do whatever they wanted to, but it became oversaturated, and I kind of lost this drive and interest and excitement, and yeah, it kind of just faded out. Larry said, do you have any upcoming charity videos? If so, what hospitals ones would be nice? No upcoming charity videos. I don't usually post my, like I usually work with an orphanage in Cebu. I don't usually, the ones you see on YouTube are ones that I come across organically. I don't ever go seeking people out. So on my street interviews, when I see someone that is either a homeless foreigner or is in need of help, it kind of comes from that. And I think that's why the first few were popular, because they racked up over 1 million views, and that's pretty good for a channel like mine, for the Philippines specifically. So they were organic, and I don't want to go basically do that to homeless people, to search them out. So they just happen kind of organically, and I don't have anything coming up in the near future. Fixation said, are you living in Thailand now? Or right now I'm in Bangkok. I had a flight last month to the Philippines, but typhoons just really made me want to be here for the next little bit until that kind of settles down. The earthquakes, I should say, more than typhoons. So right now I'm in Bangkok while I decide my next destination. Interview in the pool. Hey, that would be a good format. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to see some pool interviews. Ever heard of Rise Above Foundation in Cebu? I have not. Maybe they sound a little familiar. Rise Above. I don't know if I've associated with them at all. Okay, you guys can please continue asking your questions. Hit the like button so we can get some more eyes on this live stream. And then I'll read some more of this crazy experiences, and we'll get back to the live chat in a second. What the shit? Shahid says, crazy woman hit my baby at Jollibee. That is a crazy story. And I'm glad you clarified that the woman was crazy. Obviously, if you're going to hit a baby, you are not mentally capable. Andrew says, my passport fell out of my bag at Manila Airport, domestic. Luckily, it was handed in, and the incredible staff went overboard to help me locate it. Oh, man, he's stressing me out by just reading that. I've had really good experience with Filipino people returning my shit. On 3 separate occasions, I lost my passport over the past 7 years. Not my passport, my wallet. On 3 separate occasions, maybe twice my wallet, 1 time my phone. And all 3 times, they returned it to me, and I couldn't be more grateful to that. So, or for them, I should say. I'm glad you shared that story. Joe says, I fly to Lapu-Lapu to see my son born. I'm drunk at night, walking down the road, and a ladyboy beggar bigger than me tries to drag me by the hand into his beauty parlor. I'm resisting. My 4'10", 9-month pregnant wife thought I was in the hotel. Appears she's grabbed my other hand and has a tug of war with the ladyboy. She won. The crowd on the street got quite the laugh. It was difficult to read because of my reading comprehension at grade 2 level. Also laptop pointing down. But that's pretty funny. Ladyboys and trans individuals in the Philippines and Thailand can be very aggressive. They do not take no for an answer. They will tug at you, pull at you, grab on your genitals, and they don't want to let you go because they want your biz and ass. And I'm glad you stood your ground and your wife pulled a little bit harder than the other man. Okay, what's next? Evolve Fire said, why didn't you buy the M4 Mac Mini for editing. Why do I have to? Something wrong with my editing? Dylan says, I've never seen an interview in the pool. I've done one on a rooftop with the pool with like 4 or 5 Filipino YouTubers. I don't know where that went. What's the name of that video? I think it was for Valentine's Day at some point. We had a good time. But yeah, aside from that, I think it's somewhere on Living Abroad. Fixation says a small improvement for your camera setup is to lock the white balance, otherwise it will change color through the video because the light outside. You're right. Actually, I don't know. I don't know nothing about, like, you'd be surprised how little I know about cameras. You know what I mean? You think I would know all this stuff, but I really don't. I have no clue. How's the light now? Is it like, let's see. It's okay, I guess. Yeah, right now it's not bad. But great tip. Great tip. Back to the live chat, and then we'll get some more crazy stories. Passport anxiety is real. It is real because it's a very important piece of document and just causes so much headache if you don't have it. Craig says, in Boracay, watching a lad from Leeds got arrested for selling himself or selling toys. Can I say that on YouTube without getting demonetized? I don't know. At a bar maid trying to fight little. So some dude was trying to sell adult toys to a female owner. The bar came down to see what was happening, only to find out he'd been seeing her in the bar girl. He was begging the police to take him away by the end of it. So man was selling toys, getting busted for cheating. Caught a cobra, says somebody else, in a veggie garden. Shoo. Jules says, one time 2 Filipinos told me they saw a ghost wearing the traditional Filipino garb on the rooftop of my condo where we hang out our laundry to dry. I told them people only see what they believe. Maybe it was just your pajamas, right? Your long john bottoms, who knows? Yes, sir. What's next? Peter said the 48-hour rule for committing a crime and being arrested. I don't know that rule. Nobody liked it. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Do you guys know that rule? Okay, let's read Wally. Wally World says, based on Guam, I was responsible for installing, calibrating, repair, and service for scale in use by the military, civilian airlines, and cargo operations, as well as customs from Hawaii to the Philippines in the 90s. Pilots flying out of Ninoy Aquino International Airports were complaining that the V1 and V2 calculations didn't measure up to the reality. Aircraft took up much more runway to get off the ground, used more fuel, and allocated for the flight, and investigation revealed it was due to improper weights and balances. Further investigation showed that most ticket agents were pocketing the money for baggage and cargo that was overweight and reporting lower weights to the pilots. Wow. The only reasonable solution was to install ramp scale to weigh the baggage while on the trucks to the aircraft. Everyone in position of power and trust agreed with this situation. However, the chain of command had to be followed. First, the Air Force captain to want to... That's a lot of reading, bro. I'm not reading all that, but it sounds interesting. If you guys want to read, you can pause this right here and read the whole thing. Basically, some corruption going on between the ticket agents, some other officials, to the point where man's had to install runway scales. That's pretty wild, though, to know because it's dangerous. It's not just a money thing. It's like direct involvement of someone's life. You're putting in jeopardy because you want to pocket the excess fees for baggage, but not claim it to the airlines themselves. Very, very dangerous behavior. Dylan said, do you use any phrases in Tagalog that you use instead of English word? I'm just curious because I hear a lot of people call each other kuya instead of dude or man. I do not. Once in a while I'll say sige or koan. That's it. 2 words, maybe it will slip out of my tongue, but they're Visaya anyway, so they're Bisaya, I should say, not Visaya. Bisaya, so, because I'm in Cebu, but I'm not very good with languages, man. I don't know why. You'd think I would be, but I'm not at all. Gerald said, money changer refuses our dollar bill just because very small tear was there. Yeah, that's normal, bro. Come on, man. Why are you trying to make it seem like they're crazy? Every single country, you cannot take torn dollar bills or any kind of currency in any country. You can't be exchanging no ripped up money. You're dumb. That's not a problem, bro. You gotta fix that. That's why it's very important. If you don't know, you have to bring very clean, crisp currency to exchange at any country exchange rate. Of course, some places are a bit more strict, some aren't. But be sure you bring no teared money, nothing old. Some places won't even accept a currency note that's over, like, let's say 10 or 20 years old. So yeah, you got to bring them crispy ass money to the country to exchange. Tony says, was in a mall, young girl getting served. She didn't have enough money to pay and had to put things back. When she came back to the till, said, I don't worry to get to the, what? When she came back to the till, I said, don't worry, go get a trolley. I filled it with meat, fish, and loads of items to her back to the till and paid for everything. She was so happy. She thanked me so much, something she'll always remember, and I didn't even know her. Okay, it doesn't sound like a very crazy story. It sounds like you're just like boosting, bro. Relax. You do something from kindness of your heart. You don't got to share with the rest of the world. But thank you, sir, for getting fish for this young lady. Although I thought the story would be about her, but apparently it's about you. Okay. Let's do it for another 15 minutes before we get out of here. Let me just see how many likes this got before I read that. I'm not going to read it. It's like got no likes. It's too long. It means that people don't like your comment. Probably not good or accurate or something. But I'll read this one. Mr. Prince Diego says, when I saw a bus driver honking to a motorcycle driver and the rider didn't move, the bus driver just ran him over off the road like he was nothing. Blood everywhere, and the bus driver drove off. He didn't even stop. He acted like nothing happened. In every civilized country, that's attempted murder, but not in the Philippines. On the road, it's open season every single day. And then it struck to me that Filipinos don't care about other Filipinos unless they are family. I don't know about that kind of general statement, but your truck and bike story sounds believable. That's how bad the Philippines traffic can be and riding habits. Hey, Change How You Think says, my sister has a husband who was born in the Philippines and naturalized in the U.S. as a child. She is bothered by the fact that he is sent money all the time to the Philippines. Justified anger? What? Let me read that where it's not so small and I can actually read what you just wrote. Because my sister has a husband who was born in the Philippines and naturalized in the U.S. as a child. She's bothered by the fact that he is sending money all the time to Philippines. Justified anger? Yeah, it's justified if they don't have an agreement about who sends what and money. I never understood that with people. Like, money problems, like, to me, it's such an easy thing. How do you get into a relationship without having an understanding of who brings what and how and who pays for things, especially if you're married? There needs to be a clear understanding of what the husband brings to the marriage, what the wife brings, how much is the husband willing to help, how much are they not willing to help. Is this a one-time thing? Is it reoccurring? Did an emergency occur? Can you afford it? Are you guys taken away from your own mouths and family to feed a random person, not random, but like a family member back in the Philippines? So all these things, they're huge factors, and I think everyone coming to the Philippines, getting into relationships, you need to have this discussion. If it's too difficult, then man up. Do it, bro. It's necessary. If she says anything but okay with what you're saying, and if you can't compromise, walk away. There's millions, literally millions of people in the Philippines that are willing to date you, I'm sure, no matter who you are. Because in the Philippines, dating is much easier. That's just a fact. It's not even like a thing. So find someone that's willing to accept you and your price. And is the dude justified? Maybe he is. Maybe his family is really struggling. Maybe he wants to help his family. Is that so wrong? Not at all. But he's got to take care of his family first. And if the wife doesn't like it, then she needs to walk away. That's how, to me, It's always a very easy. You either do this or I'm leaving. Like, it's not even like a thing. I value myself. I respect myself. And if someone doesn't want to be at my level of like comfort, and I would be more than happy to set aside $100, $200, $300, whatever it is, for charity, for her family, for whatever it is. But you got to have a discussion. You can't expect me or anyone to just continuously just pay for something that they're not happy about. You know. Yeah, if the man's being deceptive and gambling, then she obviously is justified to be angry. Angry to the point where she has to file divorce. That's it. She like, I'm going to take control of the finances. If you don't like it, I'm out this door. Every single dollar that comes into this house is run through me. That's the only way I could trust you. If the guy's like, nah, man, it's my money. I work for it. All right, cool. I don't care who you are. As a woman, you have 10 times at least more options than a man does. So I got no problems believing she'll easily find another man that probably support her and her family. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard, bro. It's like grown men having relationship problems is a joke to me. I don't understand that at all. Like, even marriage is difficult, and of course you should put more effort into it. But communication and standing firm on what you believe and not just accepting it because you don't want to argue, it goes a long way. You gotta understand what you want and live a life that obtain that. You don't just like give in to people just because you don't want to hear them cry or argue or whatever the reason may be, right? How long this stream going on? Let's see. Okay, we'll do 10 more minutes, y'all, and then I'll get out of here. Please, if you're new to the channel, please just hit the like button. I think that helps. We get some more viewers watching so we can have more questions coming in the comments. But let's read some more crazy stories about the Philippines. Terry says, in the mall after one of those concerts let out, is this the same guy? In the mall after one of those concerts let out and there's nothing but kids surrounding me and pushing from all directions and hands all over me trying to take everything out of my pockets. They got my wallet, but I saved everything else. In an SM mall, they didn't do anything to anyone even though I was telling them these kids were stealing from me. I know better than to walk through a group, but there was a line to walk through, but as soon as I hit the middle, that line was gone, so it was a huge group of kids. Pretty wild. I know what concert you're talking about, but just avoid it. Alright guys, I'm going to stop now. I don't want to push it. I'm starting to get a sore throat. I've been talking nonstop for like 3 or 4 hours. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you next time. If this format is popular or successful, I'll continue making similar stuff. Bye! Wait. Actually, I'm going to stop recording.